Okay, so in the last video, in the episode 7 of Life in the Middle, we showed you some of the behind the scenes of getting all the pieces for HEXICA printed and manufactured, and we even showed you the folding. And today we're going to show you some of the assembly that's involved in the game. Of course, once all the pieces are done and purchased, like with the dice, we have to then bag them and pack them, and then later we have to ship them and sell them. So today we're going to show you some of that second process, the assembly. Let's take a look. Here you can see Eli's working on the damage counters.
Yep.
Can you explain a little bit of the process behind what it took to paint these?
Well, first we were just spray painting them, as you can see, just using glossy spray paint. But there were some problems with that. We had to do it over and over again a couple times. So I was just exploring the possibility of hand painting them. But as you can see, the quality doesn't come out nearly as good. So I'm probably going to try and use a combination of both. First put a coat of hand paint on and then spray paint them afterwards. Hopefully they'll come out pretty good like that.
How many cubes have you painted to this point?
We've gotten a total of 2,000, so probably at this point around 1,200 or so.
That's a lot of work. So here you can see what a finished pack looks like. You've got a lot of different colors here, the white being the flags, the red being the 5 damage, black being 10, blue is 1, green is 2, yellow is 3. So a lot of denominations. Some people have asked, did you really need to have so many denominations of damage? And we did a lot of testing with more and with less, and we found that this was kind of like the perfect mix. It wasn't too much, it wasn't too little, and it covered most of the possibilities so that your ships didn't have to carry a lot of damage while flying around the map. Here we see some other stuff. These are some cards that I've been working on today. These are the player reference cards. So when players learn how to play the game, it's easy to forget some of the values, how fast ships move, how much they cost, etc. So we made these reference cards. They come 4 in a game, 1 for each player color. And on the back of these, they actually have the different phases of the rules. So here, so it's pretty helpful. Here we also have some rule books, and we also have a bunch of advanced system card packs that I've also been working on today. So a lot of work that goes into just a single game. Okay, so we thought we'd show a little bit of video regarding how we actually put the packages together, how we put the HEXICA boxes together, the assembly. So here on the table we can see all the components except for the boards, which are put in the boxes already, that go into a finished set. So here we've got a checklist just to make sure we don't forget anything, because that would be terrible to forget something in a box. So here we've got a little checklist of all the different elements. And then on the back here we have the elements themselves. So once all the elements have been put together, they're then put on top of this plastic sheet. You can't really tell in the video, but this is actually a double-layered tubing of plastic shrink wrap. And what we do actually is we're going to use this, which is a sealer, to create a compartmentalized package so that all the pieces stay together, they look really nice, and they don't get all mashed up in the boxes. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this. We don't want to cut it too narrow because it'll be harder to seal that way. So we're going to go here. I'm going to take all these pieces off. Bring this back, and what we're going to do is seal one of the open edges. So first we'll seal this. This is a really cool machine. It works very quickly, and it's very simple. All it does is it creates a heat here along this line, and it seals the package shut. Okay, so as you can see, now this is a sealed edge. Pretty cool machine. So we're done with that for now. Now we've got a bag, and we're going to put the pieces in here, and Basically, we just want it so that the pieces that are most easily ruined, actually we forgot some advanced systems cards, that are most easily ruined stay apart from each other. So this way the pieces don't mash up the money, which is probably the thinnest paper in this set. So now we've got this. And we're going to turn this around and bring the shrink wrapper back. We're going to seal this edge to as close as we can. Probably about there is good. It only takes just a second for that seal to be made. And then we're going to seal it once more to keep these two pieces in different sections. Alright, so now that that's done, all we have to do is cut this edge off. And there we go. There's our package for the HEXICA games. Okay, so now as you can see, we have all the packs bagged up. We're actually waiting on some other pieces, so we're just going to do 5 right now. So obviously, this is the most obvious step. The boxes have to be packed. As you can see, we've already put together this stand, which is for the money. It keeps the credits in place during the game so they don't get all messy. And the board is already put in here. It fits just perfectly in here. So we didn't want the boxes to be too big because we're shipping them all over the world basically at this point. So first thing, very simple. We put a rule book inside. We put the game components inside, and then we box up the game. One also kind of special thing about these games that we're doing, the first editions, as you can see, they have this little holographic sticker. Probably can't see it too well, but it's pretty cool, and it says 100% fresh. This is only for the first edition copies, so the factory copies will not have that. So that's something that we're doing special for the folks that are getting in early on the first editions. The next thing is, as you can see, we've already prepared these bags. These bags are sealed on one end with the sealer we just showed a second ago, and they're perfectly sized to fit a box. Now, what's special about this plastic, it looks like normal plastic, but actually this is heat shrink wrapped plastic. What that means is that later we're going to use a heat source to make this bag shrink up to the box. So it's going to look very, very professional, as if it's something that was purchased right off the shelf. But before we do that, we're going to take our box and seal it. Bring back the sealer for a second here. As close as we possibly can. And there we go, we've got our seal. So now let's see what it looks like as we're shrinking it up. So the next step is actually using a blow dryer to heat shrink the wrapper here. So typically they use a heat gun for this, but I didn't want to buy a heat gun, so I thought we'll just use a blow dryer, and it actually works pretty good. It just takes a little bit more time. The one thing you have to keep in mind if you're ever going to go this route is it's good to cut a couple of your corners. In fact, you can actually cut all the corners. This will just create a bit of a neater shrink. Otherwise, usually there's a bunch of excess plastic on the edges and it doesn't look so great. So we're going to cut that off first. And now, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and shrink wrap this. And there we have a finished box.